My wife tried to hide her cheating by taking work trips with her new coworker, but after we stopped being intimate, I went through her phone and made sure to take pictures of every "I miss you" and "I love you" I saw in their DMs. I'm totally new to this, and it's nice just to get this off my chest. This is going to be a very long one, and I'm not a good writer, so hang in there with me. We've been together a long time, and I think you need some history to see how we ended up where we're at. My wife, 48F, and I, 50M, met when we were both in college. We were both working part-time and going to school full-time and met while we were on lunch break from our jobs. I thought she was very, very pretty, so I went to eat there again hoping to see her again. She came up to me and started talking to me the next time we were both there, and I was sure she was interested, so I asked her out. We quickly started dating, and after a couple of years we got married. When we met I was just finishing school and the company I was working for part-time offered me a full-time management position. My now wife was still in school and I was paying for her college 100%. I actually started paying for her college shortly after we became a couple because she came from a very large family and they couldn't afford to help her, and working part-time she didn't have a lot either, and I was then working full-time, so I paid for her schooling. This is important later. She is very smart, brilliant, graduated with honors, and after a couple of not so great jobs got a real good professional job that she stayed at for many years, making good money with very good benefits. During our dating years and our early marriage we had a great sex life. We didn't have sex every single day, but when we did it was wild and sometimes very kinky. I was fairly popular in high school, captain of the football team, and college. I was in good shape, ran half marathons, etc. I guess I did okay with the ladies and had a number of partners and one long-term girlfriend that got a little kinky. My wife, however, was much more experienced than I. She was younger than me, but had many more partners and had done much more than I sexually. She liked to party and go a little wild when she partied, so she had a bit of a well-earned reputation. I found out all about it from a mutual friend right from the start, and I was good with it. If anything, it made me like her all the more early in our relationship. She would always tell me how good I was and how I was the first person that cared about her needs and got her off. That always made me feel good, and to this day I always make sure she is satisfied before me. I'm fairly average in all ways, so I always felt the need to put in maximum effort to make sure my partner wanted me and wouldn't stray thinking they could get better sex from someone else. Sure, I'm a little insecure there. After a few years of marriage I decided to pursue a dream of starting my own sports team, and it was a real struggle to get things off the ground. My wife helped me every step of the way, and to make things even more interesting, we bought a big house at about the same time. We were both working our regular jobs and now working to get this new business going. I probably didn't get more than 4 hours of sleep a night for the next 20 years, and that's not an exaggeration. Money was pretty tight at this time. Because of all the time I was spending with my new team, I changed jobs a few times and was putting a lot of my own money into the team to build it up. My wife was bringing home more money than me, and there were a few arguments about money and how much I was spending, but all in all we were rock solid. She was my best friend, wife, and lover. The team travels to events every weekend during the season, and probably 90% of the time, my wife traveled with me and was by my side all the time before we had kids. Some events weren't far from home, so I would be home late that night even if she didn't go. This meant that I missed a lot of family and friend occasions. She went to many family and friends' weddings and other things solo. She even took a few trips with her single friends to the beach for a week to hang out and relax. She loves the beach. Shortly after our 5th wedding anniversary I was looking for some team pictures, and my wife told me to look in the drawers in a spare room. I found pictures of her bachelorette party. We had talked about it after, and she had told me about all the drinking and dancing, flirting with some guys, and that it was pretty innocent and tame. My bachelor party was pretty wild, and some of the wildest things were done by her brothers, so I was a fairly good boy and wasn't worried about hers at all. Well, the pictures painted a little different picture. Her maid of honor bought her a stripper and was nice enough to take pictures so she'd remember the night, I guess. There was a lot of alcohol, and the pictures showed the stripper doing his thing and my wife grinding on him having a good time. The last photo showed him completely naked standing in front of her. She still had all her clothes on, with her hand wrapped around his junk. I was like, WTF. I took the photos and immediately showed them to her and asked WTF. She said she didn't tell me about the stripper because she didn't want me to get jealous and that all her friends were egging her on to touch him, and she was quite drunk so she did. She swore up and down that was all that happened, and since I had done about the same at my party that same night I didn't think I could be too pissed. I was really only mad that she didn't tell me about it. She knew exactly what happened at mine, all her brothers told her. This did let me know that she could do something and leave out details when she told me and not feel she was lying at all. It always left a nagging little doubt in my head about those beach trips and if she was completely honest about them. Fast forward a few years and things were greatly improving. We waited to have kids because we wanted to be able to provide for them properly. My sports team had really started to take off and was starting to make us money instead of costing us money. We both had good jobs and we decided it was time to have kids. We had 2 children 4 years apart and everything was going great. Sports team was really taking off, winning championships, awards, etc. I started to become a little bit of a local celebrity. Everyone knew who I was. I was doing TV interviews, radio, etc. Just local and regional stuff, nothing big time, but things were going great. In fact, between my two children's births, my wife and I were having the most sex we ever had in our relationship. Wild, crazy times that we both seemed to enjoy very much. There was even some internet stuff and she was the star. Remember, she is very, very pretty and a bit kinky too. This ended a few years ago at her request. These were probably the best days of my life. It is also very important to note that even though we were having some wild times, it was just the two of us. We had talked about ever fooling around and both completely agreed it was a 100% deal breaker. She told me if I ever cheated we were done, end of story. We were still very close, but I have found out very recently that after our second child was born that this is when she started resenting the sports team. She has now told me it bothered her that I was getting all the attention, awards, etc., after she had done so much work and sacrificed so much to get things going. I really didn't see it at the time. Hang in there, the part where I need your help is coming soon. Now we have children and she can't or doesn't want to bring them to all our events, so she starts traveling with the team less and less. I swear that I always ask her to go, as I really want her there with me. Fast forward a few more years and my wife's father passes away. They were very close, and he was very protective of his baby girl. Side note, he didn't like me at all at first but warmed up to me and I really liked him and respected him a lot. After a short period of time, my wife announces she is quitting her job and going back to school to change careers and follow in her father's footsteps. I'm a little worried because that means I have to pay for her to go to college again, take care of two young kids, work my regular job, and run my team too, as she will be returning to school full time. I really wanted to support her though, because of how much I knew it meant to her and all the support she had given me starting my team. She went summers, nights, etc. to get done as fast as she could and I made it work as best as I could. The kids and I look back at these times and really think it was fun. Me picking them up from daycare, cooking, me microwaving kids' cuisine, and them tagging along to nights with the team. Things seem to be going great. Fast forward to a few years ago and we're doing so well that I say I want to take her away for a week to her favorite beach for a week, just the two of us as a second honeymoon. We didn't have a lot of money for our first one, so it wasn't so great and I wanted to make it up to her. It went great, she loved the beach, and we made love more than we did on our first honeymoon. And that's when things seemed to start going bad. After that trip, even though the kids were older, she didn't want to travel with the team anymore. She started wanting to take a trip every summer to the beach, right in the middle of my season when she knew I couldn't go. She said I could come if I want, but she's going either way. She said she was tired of missing out, and since we were doing so well we could afford it and she was going. She'd take kids and usually invite some of her family along, but it still makes me feel bad. She didn't get to go this year but has already told me she's going next year without me again. I don't think she's meeting anyone on these trips, but I still don't think it's a good thing. As the last few years have played out, she seems to resent my team more and more. She comes around the team so little that even friends ask what's up. If you've stayed with me for this long, the novel is coming to an end. About 2 years ago she starts talking about a new coworker a lot. Yeah, you can see where this is going. She tells me how smart he is and all the new ideas he has and how they have become friends very quickly, which is unusual as she hasn't made friends with her coworkers that much. I'm really getting bad vibes from this right from the start. Then her company is having a big company outing, taking a bus trip to a big city for a fancy dinner and show, and spouses are invited. I go partially just so I can meet this guy. He's bigger than me, around 6'2", but he's pretty fat and out of shape, but it's obvious to me the way he looks at my wife that he likes her. I ask her about him when we're alone and she says that they're just friends and for me not to worry. Just look at him, she says. I could never be attracted to someone like that. Well, on the bus ride home she asks me not to sit next to her so she can stretch out and fall asleep as it's close to 1 a.m. Honestly, it pissed me off because I figured she'd have coworkers sitting with her in no time. She doesn't for most of the trip, about 4 hours, but for the last half hour he comes up and sits next to her and they talk the rest of the way home. Of course I ask what they were talking about and she says it's a work project coming up that they will be working on together. Of course my spidey senses are going crazy, but I've got no proof anything is going on. Things actually seem to cool off for a little while as I think they both have other big projects that keep them apart, but I'm not at all sure about it. One thing is for sure, she stopped sleeping with me. She says it's my snoring, and I do snore. I offer to sleep in another room so she doesn't have to sleep on the couch. So now we're sleeping in separate rooms. Let's call that red flag number 3, but I'm not really counting. It gets worse, the smissing stops shortly thereafter too. Giant red flag. She always wanted to do it, but no, says medical things are bothering her, the kids might hear, or 1,001 other excuses why she doesn't want to anymore. I've tried to talk to her about this a number of times and it never goes well. I try and keep my cool, but I have asked if there is someone else, because I figure if she isn't getting it from me she's getting it from someone else. Looking back, I wish I didn't say that, then maybe she would have let her guard down. Anyway, about a month or so ago, one night at about midnight her phone starts blowing up. She used to leave it downstairs at night to charge and I was going to be sleeping downstairs that night. I got lucky and figured out her password, and of course coworker is the one texting her. I stayed up the entire night reading their texts and going through her phone. It was a Friday night so I didn't have to be at work the next morning, but we did have a team event, but I really didn't care. He was texting how much he missed her and hoped they'd see each other soon. There were missing texts in conversations when things were getting more heated, and it was obvious from the conversations that it seemed like there were phone calls and other things missing as well. Like I said from the start, she is a very smart woman and you could tell she was trying to hide certain things. There were tons of I love yous, way more than I have heard in the last few years. Lots of I miss yous, I miss your hugs, blowing kisses emojis, and a lot more. Some selfies accompany things together saying how cute they are and on and on. The only thing is there is not any actual talk of having intimacy or proof of an actual physical affair. Obviously it looks like there's one going on to me. She has the time as I work a lot and spend time with the team, and I think she thinks the motive. There's been a ton of other red flags that I think I chose to ignore until now. She's had to work late a lot the last year or so. There were a couple of trips for work, she's all of a sudden started drinking and it's quite a bit every night, and many other things. I guess my fear of losing everything I've worked so hard for kept me from blowing this up sooner. The day after I went in her phone, I asked my oldest child if coworker was married. Though he was, and my oldest has had an internship at my wife's company before the lockdown happened, so I figured they would know. They asked why and I made up some lie about seeing him on Facebook with no wife and I thought he had a wife. Said child immediately went to my wife and told her I was asking about coworker. Wife then came storming into my office and screamed at me about looking through her phone. She knew instantly why I would ask that, I guess. I'm sure I must have sent off a bunch of other signs that I was wondering if something was going on. Anyway, she went through all the things cheaters usually do. She denied everything. I took screenshots so she only admitted to what I had proof of, which wasn't much. Blamed me for invading her privacy. Blamed me for a lot of other stuff too. Basically turning it around that I drove her to seek this close emotional friendship with him, but that was all it was. I knew I didn't have any proof of anything else, so I said I wasn't accusing her of anything, but she had to agree it looked pretty bad from my point of view and how everything was going between us. She got madder because I was so calm and wouldn't yell back and stormed out. I looked at a lot of Reddit since then and realized just how many mistakes I've made. Since that blow up, she's been hiding her phone, changed her passwords on everything, and has made sure she's not going to let me find anything else very easily. I did ask her about this and she tells me I invaded her privacy, but if I want her phone I can have it. I politely told her I know how smart she is, and if she wanted to hide something from me she's smart enough to figure out how. So where do I go from here? I just want the truth. We had one other talk but it was more of the same. I don't want to lose everything, but if she's a lying cheater I don't want that either. The worst part is I still love her with all my heart. She's so smart, beautiful, a great mother to my kids who are both brilliant like her, tops in their class. I know I'm not perfect, I can be pretty intense, work a lot and have made many mistakes I'm sure, but I've tried really hard to give her a good life. I just want the truth no matter if it's going to hurt or not. No half-truths or trickle the truth to me. God, this sucks. Any good advice is appreciated. Thanks in advance. Commenter. The truth you seek is that your wife is emotionally involved with another man, she is already cheating emotionally, and, yeah, there may be reasons for that, but that's the plain fact. If you want to try and save your marriage, then I would ask her if she would consider marriage counseling rather than obsessing whether the relationship is also physical. If there is absolutely no way you could bear it if she is physically cheating and or your wife is not interested in counseling, then sure, if you have the resources, pie is the way to go. Update 1, 2 months later. I'll try to not drone on so 2 quick parts as I've got a few DMs asking for more updates. Part 1, we've tried to stay together and work through things. A lot of things have gone a lot better. We've had more smashing in the last month than in the last year and it's been very good. After a few more rough patches she's given me total access to her phone and all social media. He still texts, etc., but she only gives very short, usually one-word answers. I think he still is trying, but she's keeping her answers very short, mostly just about work. So all in all really good, right? Well, our anniversary came and I really tried to do some nice things, bought her favorite dessert, bought flowers, took time off from work to deliver them to her to surprise her, etc. She cried and cried. She said she didn't deserve it and wouldn't stop crying. She would not tell me what was wrong. This happened twice, seemed like serious guilt to me, but she wouldn't tell me what was wrong, so I'm left to think the worst. She also accused me of tracking her with GPS, which I'm not, when she was going out to lunch with coworkers. She said I'd see it on the GPS I'm tracking her with, so she wanted to let me know why she was going there. Maybe it's not a bad thing to let her think I am. She didn't give me a chance to tell her I wasn't. I just let her comments go. Then the bomb dropped last night. Part 2, she has a son that she had when she was very young, before we met, and gave him away to a very nice family. He wants to connect with my wife, his biological mother, and our children. She wants to tell our children about him this weekend and wants to let him meet his half-siblings. They have zero idea he exists, she says. She showed me his picture, I had never seen him before. He apparently looks like his father because he has no similarities to my wife. She went to a family wedding last year and talked to him when I was away. They know a lot about each other's families and have been following each other through social media. She basically says I have no say in any of this since it's her son, and I'm no relation and it's my children's half-brother. I don't know what to think anymore. Any good advice on how to handle this new revelation would be greatly appreciated. Commenter. So did she have an affair or not? Oop, Emotional for sure. Physical, I'm still not 100% sure. She won't admit to it, but all signs point to yes. I'm treating it like it went that far, proof or not. Update 2, 1 year later. I've been getting a lot of people looking for an update. To make a very long story short, we are now divorced. She wouldn't stop contact with AP. Showed no remorse, blame shifted. Never really came clean. I know in my heart I gave it my very best to save what we had. Did I make mistakes? Yes. Looking back, I of course would have done things different, but it is what it is. I had enough. I lost a lot in the divorce, but it had to happen. I kept home and teams, had to give up everything else, retirement savings, etc., but it was worth it. I'm good now. Still hurts to think about it, but it gets better every day. Enjoying all the things in my life again. My brother and his family have really been there for me. Thanks, bro. I don't want to be too long, so if there is anything else I'll try and answer. So there's your final update. Commenter. Scary, you can't even trust your own kids. What was their reaction to divorce? Did they admit to knowing about affair? What's your feeling towards them? Did they meet their half-brother? Is your ex-wife with AP now? Op responds. I'm still talking to my kids, but the relationship is different now. The younger one did not know anything was going on, the older I think did, but won't admit to anything on, says that they were trying to avoid conflict. I have very mixed feelings, but I still want them in my life. I was there when she told the kids. They both said they want to meet their half-brother, but as of today they have no plan on meeting him. I was amazed how they reacted. They seemed happy to hear they had a half-brother out there and didn't seem bothered at all that their mom hid this for their whole lives. Something happened, I have no idea what, and I really don't want to know, but she seems to hate the AP now. He probably dumped her now that she's single.